Ladies and gentlemen, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel today. In today's video, another mock draft. It's Monday. You guys know the drill. But this is a very important Monday in the NFL calendar because today is the start of free agency. Now, quick preference, I'm recording this video on Sunday night, so Sunday, March 10th at night, and there's already been a lot of big news that came out today. Baker's going back to the Bucks, Russell Wilson's going to the Steelers, that's huge. Kevin Byers going to the Bears. So we've gotten some news today, but tomorrow is going to really break the dam open, and it's going to be really packed with news. So this is my pre-free agency mock draft. Obviously, I don't know where these free agents are going to go. Before knowing where all these guys land, this is where I would have each team pick. Now, obviously, next week, I think that mock draft will be a little more accurate because some of these teams are going to fill their needs via free agency. They're going to supplement it there. But let's go ahead and get right into it. And listen, I understand that the trade market is maybe thinning out for Justin Fields, especially, with Baker going back to Tampa and Russ going to the Steelers. But I still believe wholeheartedly, without the shadow of a doubt, that the Bears will take Caleb Williams first overall. And by that definition, I still believe that the Commanders will take Drake May second overall. With the other big news of today, Mac Jones being traded to the Jaguars for a sixth, which seems like, Mac Jones is that good, don't get me wrong, but a sixth, that seems pretty low. That makes me even more confident that they are going to take a quarterback. I believe that quarterback is going to be Jayden Daniels. He's pretty much the clear number 3 in this class, in my opinion. And then, we get to Arizona, and then that would leave them in perfect spot to take Marvin Harrison Jr., the first non-quarterback of this draft. So I think picks 1 through 4 are pretty much set in stone. I think pick 5 is where it gets interesting. Now, I've said this before, I'll say it again. Would not shock me at all if the Chargers trade down from pick number 5. They are a team to me that would like to accumulate more assets, get more of a youth movement going in Los Angeles, get more young players because a lot of their players are really old and expensive. But at number 5, if they stick and pick, I think their best bet would either be to go with Brock Bowers or Malik Nabers. Now, I understand the draw for Brock Bowers, and I've been campaigning for it. I've been campaigning for the Chargers to take Brock Bowers at 5. I really do think he's that good. But I can't ignore how good Malik Nabers is and how thin the Chargers are at receiver, right? Their only dependable, reliable target right now is Keenan Allen, who's 32, injury-prone, and making a shit ton of money. Mike Williams is oft injured, unfortunately, and Quentin Johnson did not prove that he could be a quality receiver. I understand that it's rare that a team takes receiver first round both years in a row, but I will have the Chargers taking Malik Nabers here. Now, for the Giants, I actually have a very, head-ass pick right here. Now, I need you guys to hear me out for a second, okay? So, the Giants need help on their offensive line, but the one bright spot is Andrew Thomas at left tackle, right? We all know this. Now, they tried in 2022 with taking Evan Neal to put him at right tackle, and it has been a complete fucking disaster. He's been terrible, right? Okay, we know that. So, my thought process here is, well, why don't you get a guy who can play right tackle, because they need right tackle, and bump Evan Neal inside to guard. Now, who in this class has played the most right tackle out of all these guys? Well, it's J.C. Latham, right? And you might be saying, oh, well, he's ranked as the 21st best prospect, but he's kind of controversial because some evaluators, most notably, I believe, Daniel Jeremiah, really like J.C. Latham coming out of Alabama. Now, he played right tackle at Alabama because Kalen Proctor was playing left tackle, the superstar, freshman. But I do not think that J.C. Latham 6 to the Giants is the craziest thing in the world. They are financially committed to Daniel Jones. They, again, need help on their offensive line, and Evan Neal could be a better guard than he is tackle. Then you get a good right tackle in J.C. Latham. It sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but hear me out on that one. So then at number 7, I got some flack last time because you guys were really not liking my pick of Rome Odunze at 7, which I don't necessarily understand. I think Rome Odunze would be a fantastic fit for the Titans, but Titans fans were in my comments telling me that absolutely they need to go tackle with Joe Alt, and I can't say I disagree with them. Their offensive line is really bad. It helped. They got helped a little bit last year with the addition of Peter Skoronski, but he's more of a guard. I think if you get a bona fide, legit franchise left tackle in Joe Alt, I think that they'll be good to go. Okay, number 8, Atlanta Falcons. I still, to this day, believe that the first defensive player off the board will be Dallas Turner. I think that he was an absolute freak show at the Combine. He was very productive at Alabama. Defensive head coach coming to Atlanta. I think it makes all the sense in the world for them to be able to take Dallas Turner, especially considering that they are probably going to find their quarterback via free agency or a trade, right? And they have a lot of skill position talent. So improving their defense, getting a bona fide edge rusher, I think is going to be priority number 1 for Atlanta at pick number 8. Then that leaves the Chicago Bears, and I think if the board falls this way, they would be very, very happy with it. So I personally believe that the Bears in this instance would go with Rome Odunze out of Washington, pair up DJ Moore with, give him his buddy in crime to pair with Caleb Williams. I think that this would be an ideal 1 and 9 draft choices for the Bears. Get a quarterback, get an extra weapon for him. I think that that'd be very good. I don't think that they would have any issues with that. Now we go into number 10, and I still believe that the Jets are going to take an offensive lineman. Talisi Fuaga out of Oregon State, to me, is maybe the best lineman available. I understand Olu Fashanu. That could be the move here too. At 10, I think it's a coin flip between one of those guys. Fuaga maybe projects more as a guard, so you can make a good argument that I think Olu Fashanu would be better as a tackle, which I totally understand. But I think he can play all over. He is listed at guard. He is listed at tackle. And then I think that would allow them some flexibility to move Mekhi Becton around to wherever. It would be interesting. But now we're going to look at the Minnesota Vikings. And again, this is before free agency. I do not know if they're going to get Kirk Cousins back. Last week, I would have told you he's an Atlanta Falcon. Reports coming out, earlier today were saying that the Vikings are trying hard to get Kirk back. I don't know. Again, that's the beauty of free agency. By the time I post this video on Monday morning, Kirk could be an Atlanta Falcon and this pick looks stupid, or maybe he's back with the Vikings and, whatever. So it's just hard to speculate. This is the fun of free agency, right? It makes the league a little chaotic. So I'm going to say this, and I'm going to save myself some embarrassment. If Kirk goes to anywhere else but Minnesota, I think that their pick right here is J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy had a really good combine. He's supposedly shooting up draft boards. Vikings need a quarterback. I think Kevin O'Connell would like a guy with a little bit of athleticism. So I'm going to say J.J. McCarthy's the pick if Kirk leaves, okay? Then what I'm going to say, the pick, if he doesn't leave, be Nate Wiggins out of Clemson. I think he would wreak havoc in Brian Flores' man-coverage scheme. He's fast. He's got long arms. Now, I will say, didn't quite test as well at the combine as I think a lot of people anticipated. So maybe he drops down just a hair. But I think he's still a really, really good corner. And I'm gonna coin flip here. I'm gonna play devil's advocate a little bit. I'm gonna say that Nate Wiggins goes to the Vikings because they are able to re-sign Kirk Cousins, which would then lead the Denver Broncos to take J.J. McCarthy at pick 12. I do not think that J.J. McCarthy will get past pick 12 based off the reports I've been hearing, based on how his draft stock has been rising. I think that is a very good option for them at pick 12 if that's where they want to go with. Russ is now gone; he's an afterthought, so they got to get a young quarterback, and I think J.J. McCarthy would be a good option for him. All right, pick number 13. So I personally think that this is a spot where we could actually see Byron Murphy the second, right? Again, you have to think defensive coach. They want a guy who can be dominant on that defensive line, with Max Crosby. They invested in Tyree Wilson last year on the other side, and it hasn't worked out so far, but he was definitely a project, so I'll give him some time. But if Tyree Wilson can work out, you'd have Max Crosby, Tyree Wilson, and Byron Murphy. That would be a fantastic, defensive line in a division where now you're going to have to play Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes and whoever the Broncos' next young quarterback is. So I think defensive line reinforcements could be on the way for the Raiders. I think Byron Murphy is worthy of the number 13 pick. I don't doubt that. So at 14 for the New Orleans Saints, they need tackle. They need defensive line as well. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and take Quinion Mitchell. I understand that corner's not their biggest pressing need right now, but I think at number 14, you got to go BPA. And while Brock Bowers is definitely the best player available, I think a corner would be a better fit for New Orleans just because, Marshawn Lattimore's getting a little bit older. I think they still want to make sure that their defense is solid. They just want that infusion of young talent because they just keep kicking the can down the road salary cap-wise, and it is not going to be pretty for them. So they need help on defense. They need help a lot of places, actually, but I think defense would be good. And, Dennis Allen is a defensive coach, so I think it makes even more sense. But the Colts at number 15, I think this would be just so much fun to take Brock Bowers, give Anthony Richardson just the most unique weapon in this draft class, arguably the best tight end prospect ever. I think that would just be just so much fun in Shane Steichen's system. I can't speak right now. I'm so excited about Brock Bowers going to Indianapolis, but I think that would just be so much fun. Brock Bowers in Indianapolis would be great, and I can't wait to see it. Seattle. again, Seattle, and I'm gonna ramble for a second because I'm a Seahawks fan, right? Seattle has done a great job of cutting a lot of players and giving themselves a lot of cap space. So in the positions that they need, right, linebacker, they need interior offensive line, they need interior defensive line. They could use, now they need safeties, right? They have allowed themselves to fill some of those needs in free agency. And what we've seen in free agency now is there's going to be a lot of safeties available. There's going to be, a good amount of linebackers available. There's going to be some defensive linemen available. And while they'll obviously not be able to fill every single need with, $60 million, even though that is a good amount of money, I think that they are able to fill those other needs. So then you look at it and you go, okay, well, what can we get at pick 16? What can't we get in free agency, I guess, is a way to think about that as well. And if you're Seattle, I think your best option at getting a center is taking Jackson Powers Johnson, 16th overall. There's not a great center market out right now in free agency. And like I said, linebackers, you got Patrick Queen. You could re-sign Jordan Brooks. Safeties, there's Justin Simmons. Kevin Byard was a free agent, just not too long ago. So there are options at safety, at linebacker. You can also re-sign, Leonard Williams for your interior defensive line. But for your interior offensive line, I think your best option is to take a center at pick 16, and Jackson Power Johnson would be the only one I would even consider in the first round here. So Jacksonville Jaguars, corner does make sense. They did just release Darius Williams, and there happens to be a unicorn of a corner here at pick 17, Cooper DeJean. Team White, we finally have a corner. Let's go. We're not going to lose 65-7 in those Madden simulations anymore. But I think this is a good fit for the Jaguars, for what they're trying to do. Now, they're doing some weird shit, right, with Mac Jones. I don't really get that move. I get it, but I also kind of don't. It's one of those things. But they're going to be in some financial trouble because they have to re-sign Josh Allen, and they have to extend Trevor Lawrence here pretty soon. So getting younger and cheaper at corner, I think, is going to be a really, really good move for them. And come on, who's more of a fun prospect than Cooper DeJean, dude? I mean, come on, he's just that guy, right? Cincinnati Bengals. So they need tackle as well. I think they need offensive line in general. And I kind of doubt he falls this far. But if Olu Fashanu is there at pick 18, I think they absolutely pounce all over him. I think that he would be an awesome, awesome tackle for Cincinnati. And again, you might be saying, well, Olu Fashanu 18, that's way too low. Well, every draft, there's a guy that kind of seemingly just falls for no reason, and then whoever's picking in like the middle of the first, end of the first, they really like have just a really good prospect fall into their lap, and it happens in every draft. It's hard to predict which prospect, but it always happens. And go down the board here. I don't think the Vikings are going to take tackle. I don't think the Broncos will take tackle. The Raiders might. The Saints might. The Colts probably not. The Seahawks could. Jaguars probably not. And then you get to the Bengals, and it's like, okay, well, this is a really, really good spot for him to go. He's going to be Joe Burrow's bodyguard, and I mean, come on, like, what else could you ask for if you're Joe Burrow? That's pretty damn good. For the Los Angeles Rams, now they re-signed Kevin Dotson to a 3-year deal, so I think their offensive line is fine for now. What I would do if I was the Rams, and I think they are going to do, Jared Verse is still on the board here at pick 18, right? And you look at it and you say, okay, well, the Rams, they won 9 games. Their personnel was not great last year. Byron Young was really good. Aaron Donald is Aaron Donald. Why don't we keep continuing to invest in that defensive line and get a truly dominant edge rusher? I think that Jared Verse would be a very scary pick for the Rams at pick 19. Now, I understand they lost Raheem Morris, so that maybe makes their defense a little worse. But I do think that would be quite the selection for the Rams here at pick 19. Pick 20 for the Steelers. Now, I was tempted, maybe to say quarterback. I was thinking about this video earlier today, and I was going to maybe say Bo Nix, but with getting Russell Wilson, that's not going to be the case. So I think we're looking at defensive backs specifically. Terrion Arnold, to me, is a guy who's probably the best corner available. Pair him up with Joey Porter, you'd have a pretty nice corner tandem back there. I think it would work pretty well. And then for the Miami Dolphins here at pick 21, I think that they are going to have to go with a defensive tackle because I do believe Christian Wilkins is gone out the door. Jerzon Newton is still available. I think he'd be an excellent addition. Now, Miami is, in a bit of cap trouble right now. There's no question about that. So Christian Wilkins leaving, but yeah, if they can replace him with a guy like Jerzon Newton, I think value-wise, they might be getting a better value with Jer'Zhan Newton. Now, obviously, Christian Wilkins is one of the best D tackles in the entire game, so you're not going to replace him, next year. But if you can save some money and still have a pretty good defensive tackle play, I think that they'll be okay with that. Number 22 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, you guys are weird in my comment section. I'll be honest, you guys are weird. You guys seem to hate it when I give the Eagles a corner. And I just can't understand that. I mean, I think there's a lot of corners right here that would definitely start for the Eagles. But in interest of pleasing my fan base, I will not go with a corner here for the up-tillionth time. So they need a receiver, linebacker, and defensive back, like I've said. I think an interesting addition to the Eagles could be Tyler Nubin. Now, I understand, hey, there's a lot of safeties available in free agency. Justin Simmons, played under Vic Fangio. I get it. I get that it's more likely than not that they'll fill their need at safety in free agency. But what I also understand is that I think if you want to look at an absolute, fun scenario, if you want to like remove, your hatefulness for just 1 second and look at this from a cool perspective, Tyler Nubin to the Eagles would be a lot of fun. I think Vic Fangio would deploy him in ways that you can't really deploy some of these older veteran safeties who maybe don't have as much left in the tank. And again, I picked 22. I think no matter what the pick is at 22, it's going to be investing in the defensive backfield. They need help bad. Sidney Brown he's okay. They just lost Kevin Byard to the Bears. Reed Blankenship, right? So, I think that safety and corner are their big, big, big red flags right now. I've taken corner. I still believe they're going to take corner, but you guys don't like it, so I'm going to give them a safety here. So to play a little bit of devil's advocate. For the Houston Texans, I'm tempted to go with a receiver here, but in the scenario where Latu is still on the board, I don't think they'll be able to pass up on him. Again, DeMeco Ryans, defensive guy. You took Will Anderson last year, was a big success. Nothing, what's better than having one dominant edge rusher? It's having two dominant edge rushers, right? So I think that would be an awesome addition for the Houston Texans. At number 24, the Cowboys can go in a lot of directions here, truthfully, but this is what I thought of today, and I'm going to give myself credit for it. Amaris Mims is a Jerry Jones caliber player. He's just a monster. I mean, truly, he's just a monster. He's like 6'8", 340. Like, he's just ridiculous. Tyron Smith is a free agent at left tackle, so I think that he could be a nice replacement for Tyron Smith there. I don't think that they'll re-sign Tyron Smith. I think he's too old / too expensive. And, again, Jerry Jones is the type of guy to really want a player like Amaris Mims. He's an athletic freak. I think he would fit well as a Cowboy. For the Green Bay Packers, now, they, I think, could use help on the offensive line as well. I've mocked them Tyler Nubin in the past. Now he's off the board. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with Troy Fattanu, give them some help on their offensive line. David Bakhtiari, has been oft injured, and he's, contemplating. I don't know if he's contemplating or if he already did retire. I'm a little hazy on that, but regardless, probably not going to play in 2024. Let's be real. But they need help on the offensive line. Jordan Love proved that he is a franchise quarterback last year, and when you have a franchise quarterback, you got to protect him. So I think that that's a pretty simple choice for Green Bay. Number 26, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Listen, they got back Antoine Winfield on the franchise tag. They re-signed Mike Evans. They re-signed Baker Mayfield. They have done a damn good job. You can make the argument that they should go with Peyton Wilson here, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not. What I'm going to do is I'm going to give them Zach Frazier because Ryan Jensen's retired, right? He is gone. I think you want to continue to improve your offensive line. Baker has been given a 3-year deal. This isn't a 1-year contract. He's got a 3-year deal. He's going to be your franchise quarterback for the next few years. You got to protect him. Give him a quality center, just like Tom Brady had with Ryan Jensen, and I think good things will happen. For number 27, the Arizona Cardinals. I would not be surprised if they continue to beef up their O-line. I think Graham Barton would be a good addition. I believe Tyler Guyton played a lot of left tackle, and with Paris Johnson being at left tackle, I do think that makes sense, however. Again, Kyler Murray is going to be their guy, right? They've been very vocal about that. Kyler Murray is their guy. Marvin Harrison is in this draft their guy. And the Kyler and Marvin magic will work, but they need time. They need protection. And if you have two stonewalls at tackle to allow that connection to flourish, I think good things are going to happen in Arizona for their offense. So I would really like that connection for them. At number 28, if I was the Bills, I would be licking my chops landing Adonai Mitchell. I have been so high on AD Mitchell. I think that he is just phenomenal. He reminds me of CeeDee Lamb. Truthfully, he does. The way he runs routes, the way he gets in and out of breaks, it's beautiful. You know, it puts a tear to my eye, to be truthful with you. And you know, Stephon Diggs has been kind of weird the last few years. Is he disgruntled? Is he not? Whatever. Gabe Davis is a free agent. They're getting pretty thin at receiver, and I think at 28 that would be just an excellent pairing with Josh Allen, and I think that they cannot pass up on that. At number 29, I do think that the Detroit Lions go with a corner. That would be Kool-Aid McKinstry in this instance. I think I'm higher on Kool-Aid McKinstry than a lot of people are. Like I don't really know what Alabama games they were watching, but to me, he's a damn good corner. And again, when you have, you know, Kendall Vildor doinking the ball off his face mask in the hands of Brandon Ayuk, it's time to upgrade a corner. Let's just be real here. At the Ravens, number 30. Now, Graham Barton is the guy that probably projects to play more inside, so I will probably give them either a receiver or a tackle. Brian Thomas right here is interesting because if you look at him, he's 6'4", he's 205, right? And all the other Ravens receivers are a little bit on the smaller side. Like Zay Flowers is small. Rashad Bateman is not big by any means. So to get a big body receiver, I think would be very beneficial for Lamar. And again, it would contradict the play styles of Zay Flowers, continue to improve their receiving core. I'll give Brian Thomas to the Baltimore Ravens. That would leave the San Francisco 49ers, who now have just released Eric Armstead as of today. I still believe that they'll probably go with an interior offensive lineman, which, like I just mentioned, would be Graham Barton. And then I'll end the mock draft by giving the Chiefs a receiver. And in this instance, that receiver would be Ladd McConkey out of Georgia. That is my mock draft. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.